Next, we need our packet opened up to page 25. Pens, pencils, calculator, and reference table. Nick, I'm going to have you scoot down one bench all the way down. And Mike, you're now going to sit at that bench. So, yep. So each of you gets your own bench to spread out. Okay. So you can actually go down. You got both of those stools. Grace has both of those. Okay. Yeah. So you each get one. Nope.
Foreverly?
Well, for now.
Forever.
Yeah. Winnie decided she didn't have lunch. So they decided to move her so she has a lunch period. So she won't be back with this class. So that's why I figured, okay, I can spread you guys out. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on page 25 in your packet. So let's have that out along with your pens and pencils, calculator, and your reference tables. Open up to page 6. And we have some questions that we need to finish up today on pages 25 and 26. So what I'd like to do is skip question 12, which is on page 25. And instead, I want us to turn to page 26. And on page 26, the last one that I'm going to present to you is question 15. You'll see that I'm skipping 4 questions. I'm going to break you up into groups after I do this one, and I'm going to have you do those 4 and then come up and present them to the class, and we'll grade those. I think I kind of mentioned that to you yesterday. So these questions we're going to do check steps for. So when I turn you loose to do these in groups, you're going to do the check steps as well. So let's get going with question 15. Make sure you got a calculator unless you want to do all the math in your head. We have a plane with a takeoff speed of 88.3 meters per second. It requires 1,365 meters to reach that speed. I want you to find the acceleration and the time to get to that speed. So based upon what we learned yesterday, we're going to make a common givens list that can be tackled to find both of these things. The first thing, of course, is the initial speed is 0 meters per second because this is an airplane taking off down the runway. This would be our final speed, VF, which is 88.3 meters per second. And that, of course, is a distance value, D, 1,365 meters. The unknown, the first unknown that we're going to tackle is finding the acceleration, A. All right, so let's look at page 6 of the reference table. Grady, what equation would you like to pick to tackle that problem? Yes, that's the right one. VF squared equals VI squared plus 2AD, but now we have to move it around for A. And Logan, what is that equation for A going to look like?
VF squared plus VF squared over 2D.
I'm sorry, say that again.
VF squared minus VF squared over 2 times D.
That's correct. All right, now we're going to do our substitution with units. So the acceleration will be 88.3 meters per second, which we're going to square. I'm actually going to simplify this. I know the VI value is 0, so I'm going to ignore it. And then I'm going to divide by 2 times 1,365 meters. And Kaylee, let me know when you have that answer, please, with proper units, sig figs, and direction. $2.86.
Oh,
And direction? Yes, very good. All right, now we are going to do the check. And since the VI squared drops out because the VI is 0, I'm really just going to check A equals VF squared over 2D. Now remember, we're only checking units. Sophia, what is our unit for the VF variable? That's right. So we're going to put meters over seconds, and then we're going to have to square that. The 2 doesn't have it's not a measurement, so we ignore it. No units on that. But let's talk about D. Ellie, what units do we have for D? Meters. All right. So now we have to square out that numerator. When I square that out, I get meters squared per second squared over meters. And Nate, what happens at this point?
It just simplifies to meters per second squared.
How? Why is that?
The n in the denominator cancels out with the n in the numerator.
Yeah, with that square. So we have to show that, which gives us meters per second squared, and that checks because that unit matches that unit. That's what we're trying to get to verify that. All right, the second thing we're being asked to find is the time. And remember what we talked about yesterday, we don't want to use the acceleration to get that, because if I messed up the acceleration, that's going to mess up this whole part. Awesome, what equation should we use then?
V equals D over T.
What kind of V?
Average.
Yeah, so we write V bar equals D over T. This we can't leave without the bar anymore. All right, now we got to come up with our average. And when we find averages, we always keep the precision of the data, just like we do in a lab. So we got to round this to the 10th place. Talia, what's the average of 0 and 88.3 rounded to the 10th place? And the units on that? So an average speed is in meters? Meters per second. Very good. Okay. Now let's come back over here. We have to move that around for time. Ian, what is that equation for time going to look like? So, no. Let's take a look. I'm going to do this on this right here. If V bar equals D over T, this is the same as V bar over 1. You have to linearize this because the variable you want is in the denominator, giving you V bar times T equals D. Now, how do I get T by itself? We divide both sides by the V bar. So the time will be the distance over the average speed. Okay, that's what we're going to get. The time is distance over average speed. Now let's go ahead and do our substitution with units. So 1,365 meters divided by 44.2 meters per second. And Nick, what does that give us for the time with our appropriate sig figs? Does time need a positive sign on it?
Oh, I know.
No, because it can't be negative. It doesn't have a sign at all. It's not a vector. Okay, now the check on time is distance over average speed. Mike, what are the units for distance? Yep. Grace, what are the units for average speed? Okay, this is the one that we're going to flip. You are dividing by a fraction. When you divide by a fraction, it's the same as multiplying by that fraction's reciprocal. So that would be meters times, not meters per second, but the reciprocal of that, which is seconds over meters. You see what happens now? What happens now, Grady? I'm sorry, I can't hear what you said.
Seconds.
Yes, because what? What happens? What cancels out? The meters, that's right. This meter and that meter cancel, leaving us with seconds, which is what we expect. That's how you do that check. So hopefully you have that jotted down because your quiz on Monday, you will be expected to do checks for all of this, okay? Now in a moment, I'm going to break you up into groups. I will assign the groups and you're going to be assigned a priority question to do, 12, 13, 14, or 16. You'll do the whole thing as a group, everybody getting it on their paper. When you finish your priority question, you call me over to check your answer, okay? Then once I've checked it and it's good, you go on to do the other 3 questions that are there. And then I'm going to pull people up. You don't know who I'm going to pull to show me the work, the full work for that question that your group was assigned as priority. For Monday, let's just talk about the assignment for Monday. You have page 27 and 28 to complete. The rest of the packet is due Tuesday for review for Wednesday's test. So you're going to want to start working on that over the weekend if you haven't already. On page 27, notice it says you have to do the guess method for all of these questions. You're going to do the check step on page 27, questions only. Page 28, you just have to do the rest of the guess method. You can skip the checks. Okay? Everybody understand? Okay. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and we have 4 questions. So I'm going to break you up into groups of 3. Okay? So Grady, Logan, and Grace, you're going to be working priority on question 12. When the 3 of you get together around one desk, work on question 12. Once you finish that, you're going to call me over. You have to do the checks. Can't skip them. And when you've got that, call me over. I'll check it. I would like Mike, Nick, and Ian. Your priority question is number 13. And when the 3 of you finish that question, you're going to call me over to check it. And then you're going to work on the rest of them. I'd like the 3 of you ladies to work on question 14. All right. Then when you finish that one, call me over. You have to do the check on it as well. And the 3 of you are going to do question 16. And when that's been checked, then you go back and do the other 3. Okay. I'll give you, let's say 10 minutes, but you should have that one question done in about 5 minutes time. Okay. Go ahead. Get to work, please. Do your circling and underlining. Do the whole thing, just like I was doing with you in class. Let's work together. If you don't know who in the group, I'm going to call up to show their work.
No, oh, right.
Yep, these have to have checks.
No, I said it could be wrong. I could be wrong. So, 500 divided by 2.
I forgot to do square root. We just had V and E.
Oh, Oh, you have to put this out. I gotta do that fire by 2 first.
I don't know.
If you don't it'll divide by 2 and then multiply it by 5.
It's dividing and multiplying.
Okay. It's not wrong. It's not suggestion. Samosa.
Zero.
Hey, no.
Not me.
I just did. Okay, now. Yeah.
So bring me the check. Yeah, let's go. Good job, team.
Yeah, great job, guys. Okay, awesome. Why did you Right, now for the check.
Did you put in check lessons?
So now you're gonna each other to make sure.
Anyone else have a question done that you want me to check?
I got it.
Which one are you doing?
No, I didn't. No, you crossed up there.
Yeah, I know.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Square.
Yeah, it would just be numbers.
How did you show?
Square. That's that.
Says 2 things. A greater.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to show. Yes, we have 2 reviews. So we show that drops down to. I think it's 2, right? Is that the now? How do we was that show? That was showing me that do you like 2000? Now you're gonna go back and do all that. Yeah. Oh, no, I was again like.
It's all expression.
Okay.
You guys have? Which one did you guys do?
Yeah.
It's like my first time actually like writing it out.
Yeah.
It truly is. She's like,
Wait, hold on. What
marking
is?
on your desk. Check?
Yeah.
Like she made me like anything that's like not there, you can cross it out.
It's like I did.
That's right.
I swear it on the
Yeah, that's not
It's like
how you
the
show.
2 meters.
Have to show the value.
How would you do like this?
What are you
It's like a big eye.
Should we go back to
Try to
12
like
now?
do this part first.
Oh,
just
both
so I can do
leaves
the
are
answer, but I
right.
got to see that.
See, now this
Oh,
is.
you're not supposed to,
Oh, wait.
square. The other one.
So it's
Wait for a while.
five.
Where
Determine
the,
the acceleration.
okay, so when you
So
square
now
this,
you
negative
should do
3.9. It's just part of the unit.
Did you say 4?
You gotta square the top.
Yes, it is.
Oh my god, you're square. Wait, feel it?
Like, it's, or, we don't have to put it in the equation. Like this section, click on this one.
Wait, what is it? BS square.
So it's
Okay,
not-
so you just did it wrong there. Square.
So
I
answer as well.
Oh, I
see. Yes.
But we have the rest of the format correct.
Except, yeah,
The answer.
yeah, but you gotta make sure all your checks match. It's okay, that's not the correct answer.
Alright, let's do it later.
That's not the correct answer.
Substitute. Summation all pages.
So you didn't type it in correctly or
Now we're getting that over.
what you're doing. You have to make sure you use zero square root.
It's my numbers.
Well, I.
That's the
It's three
Oh.
seconds.
So
These are the number squares, never mind.
Type it in with that zero.
Six,
Sorry.
seven, square. Divided by
162?
2. That's a rather
Okay,
large
yeah,
number.
that's not bigger.
I wonder if you get that 100,000.
What is bonus?
And then meters for
That's
second.
right.
was a million.
So maybe you were right.
Then you gotta get three sig figs, right? Pay attention to your sig figs and the
So
direction.
could we write it in side guys?
You like it?
Yeah. There's somebody like.
Then you're gonna go on to the other questions, okay? Then you gotta get the other three done as well.
Is this what you got? Is that-
How are you guys doing?
That does look right.
You doing on the check?
Yeah.
Since you know we don't get it, these for right here. Just since I-
Yeah, well, you got it.
Okay.
That's a big number. That's a.
Okay, this is not the equation off the record statement. Okay, what's after the yeah?
That's
Yeah, no, that's squares. Okay, we got to go back. I can't see them, they're not there.
Well, negative.
Okay, now, this is not the equation for VI. That was the equation for VI.
It's
How do you get VI by
Well,
itself?
we're not gonna be asking this question, so throw it out.
How do you get rid of that?
So you can do that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do the check.
Okay, so you have this, you have to, before you can plug in any numbers, you gotta get that so it's just VI on the left side. What do you do to get rid of that square? Square root the whole thing. So you have to get an equation solved for VI, not VI squared.
What is up with these bullet?
Yeah, that's
I
all.
really hate it. Given.
The algebraic manipulation step is to isolate the
You don't
unknown
carry,
variable.
you don't carry your given.
Unknown variable is VI, not VI squared. So you have to go back, you got it off the record table correct, and now you gotta
I didn't.
get rid of that square there.
That's why you're so mad again.
So just erase that
I have
square,
the.
on VI. And what do you have to put on this side? There you go. Now you're gonna plug into that with the radical sign.
I still don't
Okay. And that's the equation that you have to check. With the radical. Otherwise, you're doing
They're all
one
using the same
square
formula,
second
right?
square, which is
No,
not taking it underneath.
See, oh, so you're taking it, so it's like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah, there's 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So we should have 6 zeros now.
I really hope you didn't think that thing.
I'm gonna give you till about 10 after to get them all done, okay?
Yeah, we have to.
For you and Nate.
And then I'm gonna start pulling you guys up to the screen, document camera to show your work. So once you finished your priority question, you have to do the other three. Yeah, but you don't wanna leave those, all those pages till Monday
I'll go
night,
out there
Nick.
and I'll talk about
Nick, don't leave all those pages till Monday night.
Okay.
You don't wanna do 12 pages of physics homework on Monday night. Yeah, I'm just saying, cause I hear, oh, that's not due till
Don't
Tuesday.
worry. I'll do it Tuesday.
well, I just,
Don't wait till Monday night, cause you're not gonna get it all done. Let's keep going. You gotta get the other 3 pages done.
Assuming that the air was
What does that use? Like this.
I was not informed. Determine the speed.
Very clock is that.
So it's
Yeah.
Got 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes to work out those questions. And if you finish before the 5 minutes is up, then you can go ahead and start working on pages 27 and 28, which are due Monday. With checks on page 27.
Is this right? Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
I got a million. Got a number of a million.
That might be the right
All right. You guys did it wrong.
it's actually the speed.
It ends at 0. So it goes into the thing and stops.
So
Yes.
It would still be negative. It would just be this a negative.
Stupid number.
It's a stupid number.
Why call it numbers?
It's a
It doesn't
stupid
deserve it.
and I quote, it's a stupid number.
Doesn't deserve it.
Can you check her?
How do I get 360 on 6? Oh, I know.
I agree with that. Okay, this is where we got the.
Side.
I'm gonna show you how you can simplify. This value is 0. Zero squared.
It's not a big group.
Because it's 0, guess what happens? It's gone, right? So go ahead and put a line through that with 0.
How many?
So that way we don't have to
I got
consider it. Now you just have to look at
5,
this.
6.
So your units of A.
I got negative 1.7.
Okay, so show that. Get rid of
That
that.
negative 1.1.
What?
So you're gonna unit of A times the unit. Okay, now what does that mean?
Why do you always write yourself in science?
Because it's 360. I can't get this number if there's a variance.
There you go. So if I have a meter per second squared.
Yeah, I
times
see.
the-
Now.
Maybe.
Oh, boss, eat it. No, boss,
So
boss.
meter is what?
It's just one, so it's one,
Over second squared, and that's all of the ratios.
All right.
Yes,
Do the Pacific. Do the Pacific.
Folks, calm it down and get to work, please. All right, now what happens? The squares cancel, right? Because of the square root, so what does that leave with?
Yes,
I let it.
Does that make sense? All right, so explain to your partner.
Negative 3.
You're welcome.
And we know that when
It's like crazy.
do you put something?
Or zeros. You're right.
Second square here, but then the radical.
Really, you don't say
Cancel one out.
But I think mine is close to that.
mine. What? Yeah, sure. Because we don't have the time, so we can't do anything. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah. Just read it, but it's gotta be written on the board.
Yeah, keep going, and then when the answers come up, any questions you haven't gotten, we'll check, we can check them.
So we're trying to find the
All right, I'll give you 1 more minute.
I hope so. Hey, it's going that fast. It's going that fast.
Thank you. I think they'll actually show hopeful.
All righty. So now it's time for you guys to come on up. All right, so let's start back If you can all turn to question 12. And you're going to check your work against what's being presented to you up here. I'll also be checking it through to make sure that it's correct. You want to make sure you have complete correct solutions in your packet. All right. So if you didn't get to the question, that's all right, but you got to quickly get it all down. So which group did question 12? Yours did? Okay, Grady, come on up. I want to see your question 12 up here. You don't know who I'm going to pick. I told you, you don't know who I'm going to pick in the group. Question 12. You don't have to explain it. Just get it up there so we can see it. All right. So a couple of things I'm going to point out that need to happen. In the question, gentlemen, can you pay attention up here, please? All right. So why don't you come over here on this side so they can see the screen? Can you guys see the screen okay? I know, he wrote in pencil. Okay, so here we go. First thing you have to do in the question, and I want you to do this moving forward because otherwise it's going to hurt you as we get to harder questions. You want to make sure you're circling and underlining. Okay, remember, you're going to circle what we know, and you're going to underline the word that you're looking for. Now you have to show your G, you have to show the U to make sure you're not missing any steps. Okay, you got to be able to spell out the word guess. If you're missing a step, it's going to cost you points. So he has the correct D, has the correct VI. Think about it. If a bullet's in a rifle, it's not moving before you fire it. So that's why the VI is 0. The VF is the 521 meters per second. They're looking for A. That is the correct equation. VF squared is VI squared plus 2AD. So A is VF squared minus VI squared over 2D. Since the VI is 0, he's dropping it out. That's fine. So he has his 521 meters per second. That quantity should get squared. And then we're going to divide by 2 times 0.840 meters, giving him an answer of positive 162,000 meters per second squared. Or when you start to get really large numbers like that, I'm going to encourage you to move it into scientific notation. So that way you are not counting all of the zeros. Okay. Here's his check for this. So he's got his meters per second, his meters per second. He's going to square those, meters squared per second squared. We don't show the 2 in the bottom because it's not a measurement. We only show units. So it's meters per second, that quantity squared. You also don't have to show this because it drops out all over meters. So meters squared per second squared over meters. You have to show how you go from here to here. Right now, I have no idea how you're going from this step to this step. So you got to show what cancels. Okay. Let's cancel that with that, leaving us with a meter per second squared. So I do need to see what cancels out. Otherwise, you're not going to get the full credit for the check step. Does everybody understand that? You understand that? Okay. All right. Otherwise, that's good. Did everybody get that copied down? Yes? All right. Let's then, thank you. Question 13. Who had question 13? All right. Nick, come on up. I want to see your question 13 up here. So you folks can all check your work as well. You can even see it on the computer screen here. It might be a little easier. Okay, so he's got his 367 meters per second circled, the 0.0621 meters. And the other thing I would circle is this word embeds itself. It's embedding. What does it mean when something gets embedded into something else? Gets stuck there, which means it stops. So his VI is 0 meters per second, not the VI. This is actually reversed. Because it's moving at this speed and then it gets embedded in. So this should be your VI and that should be your VF. And that is the D. Does that make sense? It was going at that speed when it got into the clay and then the clay stopped it.
Yeah, we were thinking of it like before the bullet.
Yeah, well, it's the other way around. So we're looking for A. All right. The other thing I don't see is, well, here it is. It's over here. You have to show that for your equation step. That should go there. VF squared is VI squared plus 2AD. So then the equation for A, which is VF squared minus VI squared over 2D. Now he's going to plug in. So these are reversed. This is 0, so that's going to drop out. I'm just not even going to show it. But that's going to have a negative sign on it because it's negative VI squared. So we need a negative there. So negative of 367 meters per second. That quantity gets squared. I'll zoom in so that way we can all see that a little better. Divided by 2 times 0.0621 meters. So this is the right numerical answer, but we're missing a direction on it. What direction should this have, Nick?
Negative.
Yeah, it should have a negative sign on it. Negative 1.08 times 10 to the 6 meter per second squared. It's negative 1,080,000. Again, too big a number, put it in scientific notation. Now we're going to do our check over here on this. Again, since the VF is 0, we can ignore it. You skipped a step here. So we're going to have negative meters over seconds squared over meters. Then you can go to this step. Again, that's going to go away. Meters squared over seconds squared over meters. And then you have to show how you get to this with the square canceling with the meter, giving you your meter per second squared. You follow?
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's okay. All right. Questions? All right. Thank you. Who had 14? You guys had 14? All right. Sophia, why don't you come on up? We'll look at your number 14 here. These can be like, remember, 11-point questions. So we want to make sure we're not missing any steps. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, 14. So she's got her 290 meters, the word stop, the negative 3.90 meters per second squared. She's looking for, and I'm going to extend that, the speed of the Jaguar before, which gives you the indication that the unknown is VI. You've got your D, you've got your A. She has her VF, but VF is in 0 meters per second. So we're looking for VI. This is the right equation. VF squared is VI squared plus 2AD. Now, we have not done that equation solved for VI yet. So this is the first time you're seeing it solved for VI. VI is equal to the square root of VF squared minus 2AD. Now we're coming over here. I'm just going to cross that out because the VF is 0. It's going to go away. And that would have meters per second on it if we kept it. So we have negative 2 times negative 3.90 meters per second squared times 290 point meters. And that is all under the radical, which gives us 47.6 meters per second. We're looking for speed, so we don't want a sign on it because it's a scalar. Okay. Now we are going to check VI is equal to the square root of VF squared minus 2AD. The VF squared goes away because that was 0. So A is in meters per second squared. D is in meters. You multiply that out, giving us meters squared per second squared under the radical, which when you take the square root of that gives you meters per second, which checks. Okay. That one we have not done the check on before. So you have to know how to do that one too. All right. Any questions on 14? Everybody have that down in their notes? Because you're going to have to check that yourself later. For sure on tonight's homework. Okay, then now we're going to 16. Talia, can you come on up and show us your 16, please? It's the last one. All right, so she's got her 112 meters per second indicated. The 398 meters, we're looking for acceleration. She has the correct initial speed of 0 meters per second. Final speed is 112 meters per second. The D is 398 meters. We're looking for A. So it is VF squared is VI squared plus 2AD, or A is VF squared minus VI squared over 2D. She canceled out the VI squared because that's 0. So she has her 112 meters per second. She surrounds that with parentheses and squares it, and then divides by 2 times 398 meters, giving positive 15.8 meters per second squared, which is correct. It needs the direction. That needs the positive sign. Now we're going to check this again. So the VF is meters per second. We have to show that getting squared and dividing by meters because, and I'm just going to darken in her line there. That VI is 0, so it goes away, so we don't have to think about it. Now she's going to square that out, giving meters squared per second squared over the meters. And now she's showing how the square cancels with the meter. Not the whole thing. It's just the square canceling with that meter. That way you're left with still 1 meter left. So we have meters over the second squared, and that is correct. That matches the unit on the answer she had right there. Okay, very good. Any questions? All right, then let's see how much time we have left. We have like a minute left. So if you have not already jotted down these assignments up here, page 27 and 28 for Monday. Remember, checks on page 27. You don't have to do the checks on page 28. Your test corrections for Tuesday, if you haven't done those and turned them in yet. And then the review, which is the rest of the packet for Tuesday, but you should definitely get started on it over the weekend. Okay? Don't keep it all for Monday night or you're really making your life miserable for that.
Why am I?